This is 5 on your side at 5. Focused on you.
Tonight, we're hearing from LGBTQ advocates after Washington University decided to end transgender care to minors. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kelly Jackson. Mike Bush is off this week. WashU says providing care like puberty blockers and hormones could put it at risk for lawsuits. 5 on your side's Diamond Palmer joins us live outside the Transgender Center at St. Louis Children's Hospital. What is the latest on this, Diamond?
Good evening, Kelly. Well, LGBTQ advocates and medical providers are speaking out on Missouri's law that prohibits puberty blockers and gender-affirming surgery for minors. They say right now their biggest worry is that this current law that will last in 4 years, they say that it could be permanent once legislative session begins.
Promo says they're going to continue confronting systemic inequities as they deal with Missouri's new law that affects young people seeking gender-affirming care. Robert Fisher, the group's director of communications, says the battle began when the conversation started for a preliminary injunction with a circuit court judge.
And within 2 weeks of him not enacting a preliminary injunction, 2 of the major providers of transgender health care have ceased, putting hundreds of people and their livelihood in danger.
Both Washington University Transgender Center and University of Missouri Healthcare have stopped gender-affirming healthcare services for all transgender minors. Doctors at Planned Parenthood say they're still helping families in need while still being in compliance with the new law.
We are only seeing folks who are 16 years of older, and if folks have established care with us already, we will continue to see them at the healthcare that is closest to them or the most convenient for them. We also plan to open our doors for patients who are 16 years or older who've established care with another provider who may be losing access to care.
Fisher says LGBTQ advocates are bracing for Missouri's lawmakers to make the law permanent. Currently, it's under a sunset and set to expire in 4 years. But he says they'll keep fighting when the new session begins.
This conversation would be unfathomable if we were talking about everyday health care that someone needed.
Promo tells us they're continuing to work with LGBTQ organizations here in our city, and they say they're also continuing to have tough conversations with families for youth that still need care in our state. Reporting live here in the Central West End, Diamond Palmer, 5 on your side.
Developing news in the last few hours. 2 people are hurt after a shooting in North St. Louis. It happened on Rauschenbach Avenue. That's in the area of the park in that area. 1 adult was shot in the hand, the other in the leg. Both are expected to recover. No word on what led to the shooting or if police are looking for any suspects. A man has pled guilty to a misdemeanor after his wife died falling from a parking garage in downtown St. Louis. Bradley Jenkins pleaded guilty to domestic assault for pushing his wife, Alyssa Martin, during an argument. It happened in 2019 at the Stadium East garage. Martin was found dead a day later. Jenkins is on probation for 2 years. Law enforcement officials are preparing for a massive change in the Illinois criminal justice system. Starting Monday, courts can no longer require defendants to post bond to get out of jail before their trial. That means lawyers and judges have a lot more work to do up front to determine if someone is a danger to the community. And our political editor, Mark Maxwell, has more on how these changes could impact the people in jail today.
Kelly, we went to St. Clair County, home to some of the most extreme poverty anywhere in Illinois, and found their jail overcrowded, their public defenders overworked, and the court systems and police bracing for an onslaught of administrative paperwork coming their way very soon. Starting Monday, defense attorneys can ask a judge to let my client go so they can prepare for their trial, maybe get back to work, or even seek drug treatment or rehab while they await their day in court. One estimate we heard is that as many as 100 or more low-level, non-violent offenders could be released right out of the gate. We spoke to the public defender who represents many of those clients in criminal cases. And contrary to popular belief, she sees a real possibility that over time, an overcrowded jail population could actually start to grow larger.
There's been a lot of propaganda which has scared people, makes them think that people are just going to be released from the jail. I actually am worried that the opposite's going to happen, that we're going to have an increase in the jail population. Really? As a result of this act, yes. Wow. Because the people that bonded out before will now be being released.
Prosecutors, police, and judges have been huddling together for weeks now, trying to prepare for these new changes. One attorney describing them to me as, quote, revolutionary. One other wrinkle, all that bond money that defendants have set aside to get out for years, that's how many defense attorneys get paid. Pull all that money out of the system, and the criminal justice industry is in for a major shakeup.
All right, thanks, Mark. Patients can now schedule appointments online and send messages to doctors with Hospital Sisters Health System. A cyber attack caused a system-wide outage several weeks ago, impacting hospitals throughout the Metro East. The hospital system's patient platforms came back online today. That includes MyHSHS and MyChart. The hospital restored phone lines last week, but it is still working on other systems. Today, we also learned the senior vice president and CFO left her position last week. That is according to our partners at the St. Louis Business Journal. The hospital has not said whether Kimberly Hodgkinson was fired or resigned, or if this was related to the cyber attack. Today, we're getting an update on soil remover at Jana Elementary in the latest effort to clean up contamination near Coldwater Creek. The creek sits right behind the school in Florissant. It's where radioactive material from the first atomic bomb was dumped decades ago. There's contaminated soil several feet below ground surface. The Army Corps of Engineers has removed hundreds of truckloads, which are going to a disposal facility in Idaho. Today, we talked to the person overseeing the project.
That really helps us and our technical crew really learn a lot about remediation in the creek, take those lessons learned and incorporate those into all the remediation that we're going to need to do on the Coldwater Creek in and of itself.
The school shut down almost a year ago, so no students are nearby while this removal goes on. The work is expected to wrap up this fall. Other contaminated areas along the creek will be cleaned up by the year 2038. New at 5, as a long-serving Metro East nonprofit prepares to close its doors, a number of groups are stepping up to make sure those in need don't slip through the cracks. They're making sure people continue to receive help. 5 on your side's Holden Kurwicki has more from East St. Louis.
Since the 1970s, Call for Help has been there for Metro East families in their moments of need. However, those services will soon be going away. September 1st, Call for Help Interim Executive Director Mike Colligan posted this statement on the organization's website, announcing that Call for Help would cease services by the end of the month following the resolution of legal and financial obligations. For decades, the organization helped deliver mental health services, address homelessness, and provide a safe place for people and families escaping abuse. Hugh Rogers, a community health worker for Southern Illinois Health Foundation, called the closure a blow to St. Clair County. He's now working with multiple groups to try and fill the gaps in service.
There's such a great need, so for us to lose a partner, who is championing the cause with us to end homelessness, to be able to provide a better life for the individuals of this community, to not have that. Now, our workload is greater, but even more so, our resources are less.
Coming up at 6, hear from a number of Metro East nonprofits about how they plan to pick up the slack as they plan for an influx of patients. Reporting in East St. Louis, Holden Kurwicki, 5 on your side.